Welcome back. We're here with Stuart Hughes, President-elect for IOSH. First of all, fantastic presentation. I loved it, and there were definitely a few things that I'm taking home with me for what we do as well. Just a few questions, if you don't mind. First of all, what are your views on the challenges that we face in South Africa with regards to health and safety?
I don't think they're particularly unique, but I think you've got a challenge of how you raise everybody's standard up. So, what I've heard over the last 2 days at the conference is, an acknowledgement of some of those challenges, with whether it be the competence of the inspectors that are out there, or whether it's actually the understanding of OSH within, the private sector, but also a real determination to identify those global standards and apply those to South Africa. I think it's not unique to have thriving businesses and also then people struggling. I think we see that everywhere around the world, and it's one of the reasons we've come as IOSH to, help spread some of the message that we can do to help members with their competence, to help them with their skills, and then ultimately to help them make improvements in the workplace.
So that's alluding to my next question as well. Going forward, and if we look at the developments that we have, especially from a legislative point of view, what role will you guys play with regards to assisting us and working with SAIOSH in maybe getting to a point where these challenges could be maybe pushed out of the way?
Yeah, and I think it's a great question, right? So I think IOSH are here because, one, we recognise that the SAIOSH is, a big community. And I think we want to collaborate, we want to help, raise the standards of members, pass on our knowledge. We've seen good opportunities to link, the Department of Employment and Labour through to some of the organisations that we work with through the ILO and through the Commonwealth, so that we can help kind of transfer some of those standards and some of those policies. And ultimately, that's the aim, isn't it? How do we eliminate some of these problems? And that's the biggest challenge in the world of work. I think if we can reduce them, first of all, we're in a better place, and then we aim for elimination after that.
So one of the things that you mentioned in your presentation, which I think is a major challenge for a lot of employers in South Africa, is that they're very focused only on compliance and not necessarily with what happens beyond compliance. So speaking towards a culture or a way of thinking about health and safety, what advice would you offer employers in South Africa to get to the point where they can consider what happens after compliance?
Yeah, and I think that's a really important question. So prevention is the foundation, right? What you don't want to do is move to this beyond compliance piece when you're not compliant. So get the basics right, go in, do that understanding of where are the risks in your organisation and how well are you controlling them, and be really honest about that. And I think once you've got that foundational understanding of where you are in your risk portfolio, then you can start to say, right, we're taking these actions. And when those actions are demonstrating that your prevention level is acceptable, then you can start to go, right, how do we do this from a cultural perspective? How do we move beyond compliance to be enabling? And that's the journey, but you have to get the foundation right. If you miss that step, then it doesn't matter how good your culture becomes and everything else grows, because it's on really rocky ground. So I think that's the advice I would give. Fantastic,
thank you. The last question, what have you enjoyed the most about the SAIOSH conference so far?
Do you know what? Like somebody from the UK that comes over here, what I really am impressed with is just the engagement that you get from everybody. I think the calibre of presentations has been really interesting. The Department of Employment and Labour kind of standing up and then also taking questions from the audience, and it being a little bit feisty, and then being prepared to say, actually, we acknowledge where we're weak and how we can get better. I think that's really good. And then I thought the conversation from Oliver yesterday on the rhythm of safety, and that importance of not just changing what you're asking people to do, and kind of removing their competence or their ability to perform their tasks. So I thought those kind of things were really great, but just a really enjoyable event that's it's very lively. It's got a high calibre of speakers, and I think if everybody walks away with some key message from it, then it's a really good event.
Thank you very much for your time, and all the best with your new role as well.
Thank you very much.